Hey there, I'm Rel. I'm a 33-year-old housewife. I have a 5-year-old daughter. My husband, Milo, who is 2 years older than me, and I met through a mutual friend. We got married 6 years ago, and soon after, we were blessed with our daughter, Shelley. She's only 5 years old now, at her most adorable age. It's heartbreaking that her fate was so harsh. 2 years ago, Shelley started to become weak. When she was 3, she began to have fevers and chills frequently. Her neck also started swelling. We thought it might be mumps, so we took her to the hospital. There, the doctor said, "You need to get tests done at a bigger hospital right away." That's what the doctor told me. After lots of tests at the big hospital and waiting nervously, the doctors finally told us what was wrong. Shelley had malignant lymphoma, a type of cancer kids can get. When I heard this, it felt like my world went dark. I begged the doctor, "This has to be a mistake, right? Please tell me it's not true." Even though the doctor and nurses were there, I couldn't help but cry. Shelley needed to be hospitalized right away, so we rushed home to gather things we needed. But I couldn't stop crying. My husband, Milo, was also crying, but he tried to be strong for us. "We have to be brave. Shelley will get better," he said firmly, trying to encourage me. The doctors explained the illness and the treatments Shelley would need, and I had to sign papers giving permission for things like blood transfusions and surgery. The treatments were tough. Shelley had to get medicine through an IV, have blood taken, get blood transfusions, and have chemotherapy. I quit my part-time job so I could be with Shelley at the hospital all the time. Sometimes Milo would take time off work to come and see us, and he'd tell me, "You need to take a break sometimes, Michelle, or you'll get sick too." When Milo was visiting, I'd take care of things at home or try to get some rest to keep my strength up. In the first few days at the hospital, Shelley cried a lot. But as she got used to being there, she cried less and less. The nurses would compliment her, saying things like, "Shelley was so brave today, she didn't cry at all when she got her shot." Even though Shelley's hair fell out and she felt weak because of the medicine she had to take, she never complained. She always had a smile on her face. One day when Milo and I went to visit her, Shelley showed us a drawing she did of us in her notebook. "Mom, look," she said proudly. "Shelley, it's really good," I told her, feeling proud too. Shelley was always chatty even when she was lying in her hospital bed. Her talking made us feel stronger. When her white blood cell count was low, she had to stay in a special clean room. But after about a month, when her blood count got better, she was allowed to come home for a little while. "Mom, I want to go to preschool," she said excitedly. So we took her back to school for the first time in a long time. Seeing Shelley playing happily with her friends made us so happy. When we got home, my mom came to visit. "Shelley, you're doing so well," she said, holding Shelley close. Seeing Shelley being so lively and playful in my mom's arms made it hard to believe she was sick. "Mom, it smells like home," Shelley said as she sniffed the towels and blankets that had been drying at home for a few days. She seemed full of energy. But then she suddenly said, "Mom, my head hurts." She looked a bit lost and complained, "Let me check. Oh, you have a little fever. Stay here, I'll make you some soup." I tucked Shelley into bed and quickly finished up my chores, then started making soup. Just as I was about to start cooking, the doorbell rang. When I looked at the monitor, I saw Lori. I immediately wished I hadn't answered the door. "Lori, what brings you here?" I wanted to ask, "Do you need a reason to visit your son's house?" But I stayed quiet. Normally, I'd be happy to welcome a kind mother-in-law, but Lori, Milo's mom, was the last person I wanted to see. If I asked her, she'd probably say her hobby is harassing her daughter-in-law. I thought to myself. Since Milo and I got married, Lori had been constantly giving me a hard time, making fun of me for not having a higher education or for being tall instead of cute. It was like she had a knack for saying hurtful things. When Milo's dad was alive, he would sometimes step in and tell her off, which made things a little easier to handle. But after he passed away from an illness during our second year of marriage, Lori's behavior got even worse. With no one to keep her in check, she'd do things like not ordering my favorite food or turning off the hot water while I was in the shower. Just little mean things like that. Milo has an older sister, Alisa, who's a successful career woman. Her husband, my brother-in-law, is a prosecutor, and Lori is really proud of Alisa. She's always comparing me to Alisa and making snide comments. Alisa has a son named Jace who's in second grade. When we visited for Christmas, it was obvious how differently Lori treated Jace compared to Shelley. Even though Shelley is her granddaughter, it seems like Lori doesn't find her adorable because she doesn't like me, her daughter-in-law. While I was busy making soup, Lori came barging in from next door. "Ah, Shelley has a fever," I thought. "If you don't have any business here, just leave." But then she said, "Such a weak child. I wonder where she gets it from. Certainly not our side of the family. Your dad had cancer, didn't he?" "Yes, Lori, I've told you many times. This illness isn't passed down through families," I said, exasperated. "Yes, my dad died from cancer when I was in high school, but malignant lymphoma isn't usually inherited, except in some cases related to certain viruses. How many times do I have to explain this? Is she forgetting things?" In the end, Lori just took a quick look at Shelley, said something mean, and left. I wonder if she has dementia, I thought. In the end, I glanced at Shelley's face, made a few sarcastic remarks, and left. I wondered what her purpose was. Was she just bored? Shelley spent about a year going back and forth between staying in the hospital and coming home for a few days as her blood count got better. After about a year and a half in the hospital, she finished her treatment, and we were finally able to bring her home. She was able to go back to preschool, and we even took a family trip to the aquarium. She was full of energy and seemed so lively. I never doubted that Shelley would get better. But a year after she left the hospital, when she turned 5, my worst fears came true. Her illness came back. The painful treatment started again. She had injections in her spine, radiation therapy, she got pneumonia, and had high fevers. I did everything I could to help her. I massaged her swollen face and legs, and I even had a bone marrow transplant for her, hoping it would make her better. But unfortunately, it didn't work and her condition got worse. Then the doctor told us the harsh truth. There's nothing more we can do. It meant that more treatment would only make Shelley suffer more. The doctor said she didn't have much time left. So we decided to bring Shelley home and make the most of the time we had left together. We did everything Shelley wanted to do. She even got to join in on the activities at preschool and play with her friends. Her smile brought joy to everyone around her. Mom visited a lot. I promised myself that I wouldn't cry in front of Shelley, but sometimes I couldn't help it, and tears would fall. "Mom, what's wrong? Do you have a headache?" Even though she was in pain, Shelley was still so caring, always worrying about me. I prayed so hard for our happy moments to never end, for a miracle to save Shelley. But my prayers went unanswered. Even though she looked healthy, her blood test results kept getting worse, her condition was getting worse too, and eventually she couldn't even walk. But we were certain that she would make it to her 6th birthday. However, things took a turn for the worse very quickly. Shelley started having trouble breathing. "You should be prepared," the doctor told us. I had promised myself I wouldn't cry, but I couldn't hold it back in. A days I told Shell I love you, and she weakly replied, "I love you too," despite how hard it was for her to speak. She managed to say those last words around 4 a.m. She got really critical. The doctor tried everything to save her, but she passed away. We held her in our arms like we promised, wanting her to feel loved as she went to sleep for the last time. We begged her to stay with us, but she couldn't. I didn't have time to grieve because I was immediately swept up in arranging her funeral. It felt like if I stopped moving, I would lose my mind. When we got to the funeral home, Lori said, "You're not coming to my words." I replied, "Right now, taking care of the living is more important than anything else. Eliza is coming back from overseas, and today is her birthday. We need to pick up the cake." I was feeling really confused and upset with all the things you were saying, I said, trying hard to not let my anger burst out. "At least bring a gift later. You better show up or I won't forgive you," as if you're the one who gets to forgive. I blocked Lori's number and called someone else instead. Many people came to the funeral, including doctors from the hospital, friends from preschool, and my own friends. Everyone was crying for Shelley, which was really touching. We put her favorite sunflowers in her coffin, and her friends put letters inside too. Milo did a good job representing our grieving family. After a while, Milo and I went to his parents' house. "Milo, please help," Lori begged as we walked in. We ignored her and went to the living room. Eliza's family and some relatives were there, and they all seemed angry at Lori. Eliza was the first to talk to us. "I'm really sorry. We didn't know today was Shell's funeral." After I hung up on Lori, I called my sister-in-law, Alisa. Despite Lori often comparing us, Alisa and I had a close bond like real sisters. Since I was an only child, I cherished Eliza like family. Her son, Jace, used to play with Shell a lot, even when Shell got sick. Eliza visited us often to show her support. This year, Alisa had to go abroad for work, and when she returned, it happened to be on her birthday, which overlapped with Shell's funeral. We were busy dealing with everything and had asked Lori to inform her side of the family. But Lori, in her foolishness, told them about a birthday party for Elisa instead of Shell's funeral. Eliza, who I had personally informed, was shocked to find out that Lori hadn't attended the funeral. When Alisa contacted me again after returning home, the funeral was already over, but they were waiting for us to return. Eliza, among others, was mourning Shelley, while everyone gave Lori cold looks. Lori said, "You can always have another child," which were the worst possible words to say. Then, with a furious look, Alisa threw the cake prepared for her right at Lori's face. "Clean up that twisted personality of yours." She dragged Lori to the shower room and drenched her in her clothes completely. When asked why Lori had called, Lori weakly replied, "Lori was nagging me to hurry back for Alisa's birthday party preparations." The relatives were shocked and disgusted. After coming out of the shower room, Lori, completely soaked, was looked down upon by everyone. "No, but it's Eliza's birthday party. She's returning after so long. Shell was sick anyway, not expected to live long. Eliza's birthday is more important, right?" Lori's excuse was met with anger from Alisa, who furiously asked, "My birthday party? What nonsense! If Shell was so important, how could you not understand Milo's grief over losing her? Why didn't you attend your granddaughter Shell's funeral?" "No, but—" Lori started, but she couldn't find an excuse and grew quieter. That's when Jay spoke up. "Grandma, you don't really love your grandchildren, do you?" To Jay's soft murmur, Lori could only respond, "That's not true. I love you, Jace." I said, "You're healthy and Alisa's child. What's that supposed to mean? So Shelley, my child, wasn't loved because she was ill, and your daughter-in-law's daughter, Milo, who had been holding back his anger, couldn't stay silent any longer. No, but Shelley was Michelle's child, so I kept my distance. She was always sick and in bed, not fun at all. So Jace, Alisa's healthy child, is loved, but my daughter Shelley is not because she was frail. You're insane for prioritizing Shell's birthday over attending her funeral. Have you lost your mind?" These words came from Lori's brother, my uncle-in-law, and his wife, my aunt-in-law. She's always been crazy. She harassed us when we got married, even tore my daughter's dress for her piano recital, added no one at the scene stood by Lori, who had become utterly diminished. Leaving now, Mila, Michelle? We'll talk again another time. We hugged my uncle and aunt tightly. We're leaving too, Mom. We're done with you, said Milo firmly. Wait, Milo, I always felt scolded by you, always praising the successful CS. Did you ignore Shelley because of that? It's not like that, Milo. You know you didn't study like Alisa, didn't listen. So you only care about those who follow your rules, right? Said Milo, looking sad as I gave Laurie something beside him. It was a drawing of Laurie made by Shelley. In the picture, Laurie was smiling. Even though you didn't show much love to Shell, she looked up to you. I resented you and never saw you smile, but maybe Shell saw the side of you that smiled like this. Shelley was a gentle and kind child. Even when she was sick, she worried about me. Maybe she saw kindness in you through her eyes. Laurie cried for the first time, holding onto the drawing tightly. But it was too late. We're leaving too. I won't see Mom again, said Eliza. Please don't go, Laurie pleaded, but we all left without listening. Later, my uncle-in-law's family came to see us. They said sorry for Laurie's actions. After praying for Shelley and talking lightly about Laurie, they left. Laurie seemed sorry as she held Shell's drawing, but what she did couldn't be fixed. As my aunt-in-law said, Laurie has always been difficult. It's unlikely she'll change now after this incident. Other relatives also decided to stop talking to Laurie despite feeling sorry for her. Her strange behavior over the years made it easier for everyone to stay away. She might end up alone regretting her actions, but that's something she'll have to live with. After Shell's funeral, the busy days went by and all the arrangements were done. It took some time, but I finally felt the full weight of losing Shelley. I was so overwhelmed with grief that I couldn't see clearly, which worried Milo a lot. My mom had to come stay with us for a while to help out. I felt like I was losing my mind. I just wanted to be with Shelley, drowning in despair. I couldn't stop wondering if I could have saved her by taking her to the hospital sooner or paying more attention to her health. But I couldn't give up on my own life. Shelley fought so hard until the end. Even when she was barely conscious, she wanted to live so badly. Eventually, I started to find some hope. I joined a support group for parents who lost children to the same illness. It helped to talk and cry with others who understood my pain. Reconnecting with Alisa and spending time with her also brought some comfort. Milo and I decided to adopt a puppy. The playful puppy brings joy to everyone it meets, wagging its tail happily. It feels like a small piece of Shelley has come back to us. Are you up in heaven drawing, chatting, and smiling? One day I'll be with you there. We'll see each other again, so please wait for me. But if by some miracle I get to see your smile again here on Earth, that would mean everything to me. As Shelley's mom, I promise to live a life that honors her memory.